r/AskReddit by Reddit tells. What's the most awkward family meal you've been part of? Went out for Indian food with my parents and sister while she was going through a hard time, but we didn't realize how hard until after a bit of my dad's usual nagging about sorting her shit out, and she broke down and showed us scars on her wrists and said how she tried to kill herself. She was in a shitty relationship and a dark place at the time, but then found a cult church who helped her. Then she realized it was shitty too, so she left, but she's married to a good guy now, so all is well. That was a very quick roller coaster and seemed to really be heading off the tracks. Glad all is better now. Got invited to a Passover meal and I had never been, so I dressed up and expected to be real serious like going to church. Everyone is in pajamas and on pillows and claimed the meal is supposed to be relaxing, almost like a celebration. The entire night was awkward. I would have liked a bit more pre-information. Should have played it off that you're wearing your formal pajamas. Broke up with my live-in ex, but we stayed friends and roommates for over a year after. We had booked a surprise trip for his mom with like 15 of his family members for the summer after the breakup. Since we were still in really good terms, we decided I would still participate in the trip. First night there we had a dinner together and his mom made a toast welcoming me into the family. I was so embarrassed. I had no idea my ex hadn't told his family that we had broken up. It was super awkward for me, but I decided not to make it awkward for everyone else and just stayed quiet. Oh, that reminds me of when my ex and I were hosting 4th of July and we had just broken up the day before, but were still committed to hosting the party and obviously still living together, as it literally happened like 12 hours prior. Everyone was asking us how the wedding planning was going, and it was so awkward and uncomfortable pretending like everything was okay. We told everyone the next day via email. My aunts got in a physical fight at Christmas dinner once because my grandma, their mother, was wearing a fat diamond ring they both wanted when she died. They each proclaimed this quite loudly at the dinner table in front of my still incredibly healthy grandma and the rest of the family. Next thing I know, the table upends and they are kicking, screaming, and clawing on the floor as everyone else kind of just stands there in shock. Grandpa just shook his head and had another drink of whatever the hell was in his glass. My wife and her sisters argue over their inheritance at Christmas. With that being said, it's definitely not anything special. Apparently there is a spoon that they used while growing up. It's supposedly a very nice spoon. They all argue about who's going to get that spoon when their very healthy mother dies. I've never really understood it. My grandfather and his siblings are barely on speaking terms after arguing, and the ensuing legal battles about who inherited my great-grandpa's stuff. When in our 20s, siblings and I saw that we all agreed that no matter what happens we'll never let that greed tear us apart like that. Edit. I think my favorite part of their argument is the fact that it's not the brand of spoon or anything like that. For Christmas a couple years ago my wife got each of them their own spoon. Same make and model. They were all excited, but now they all want the original spoon. I went to lunch with my boyfriend and his mother during the first year of our relationship. She told me her husband really didn't like me and thought I was going to ruin my boyfriend's career. I cried into my sushi and had to excuse myself. Christmas dinner 2 years back. My brother had his girlfriend there for the first time. We were all still in the stage of getting to know her. She tells the story of how she beat a girl into a coma when she was 17 years old. My sisters both audibly gasp and make comments under their breath. It was fairly awkward for the rest of the meal. She thought this was a funny story. Classy lady. She's a keeper. My 17th birthday. We went to a restaurant and the cake came out. My mother told me to make a wish about my future. My father said to my mother, I know what it's in my future, and it's not you. They separated and later divorced. This is 100% true. And seriously, what is more awkward than that? Got one. Another from Thanksgiving. My aunt was worshipped by her parents, my grandparents, my poor mom, and in their very formal dining room were huge portraits of her and her incredibly handsome first husband. I mean, this man, while also being a great guy, was the dude that girls got wet just looking at. He left my aunt because she treated him like shit. Her second husband, while also a great guy and very athletic, would have been a 6 to the first 10. So they come for Thanksgiving, and he is seated opposite of a 6-foot-tall wedding portrait of the first husband. Massive inferiority complex on full display. Much later on found out aunt had called him by first husband's name during sex that morning. The anguish for the poor man and the complete obliviousness of my grandparents. I brought a girl home from college for Thanksgiving my sophomore year. My younger brother was a senior in high school, and he brought his girlfriend. While all gathered at the table, my brother's girlfriend stood up, announced she'd found out he was cheating, and promptly started having an epic meltdown. She was crying and asking why am I not good enough. My girlfriend and I stepped away, and she gave me a decent hand job in the cellar. I came on her legs and she used a terry cloth to wipe up. My brother's girlfriend refused to leave. It wasn't until she smashed a plate that my dad forced her out and threatened to call the cops. That's the short version. Anyway, so, emotional pain, followed by sexy times, followed by humiliation. A strange way to bookend your story about getting wanked off. Wow, your family dinner just got awkward. Do you fancy a handy in the cellar? I would like the long version. Long but completely worth it. So, I wasn't part of the meal, but I was at the table to witness it. Clarifying as well that I'm server at a senior independent living home, so a lot of family members come to visit. Anyways, this one couple who lived there and their extended family were there for dinner one night, and I was taking their order. The husband and wife are both remarried. This is relevant. So, the husband isn't entirely hungry and the wife says, Joe, just take the leftovers home. We're all hungry. Mr. Joe responds with, oh, kinda like how I took you home. The whole table just went silent for a good 15 seconds. Even I was staring at him like did you really just say that? All the sons and daughters were there, and the in-laws who were still alive. I was shook. It was so awkward the rest of dinner and dessert. Also, one time, I was having dinner at my boyfriend, now ex, house and his dad served his wife divorce papers right in the middle of Taco Tuesday. She was having an affair with his boss, who was not only his boss, but my ex's boss. My ex and his brother lost their shit. The tacos were good though. Literally all of them. Teenage years were particularly bad. No judgment on any of the below. Just awkward as all hell. Mother once got pissed at a neighbor who was interrupting our meal. Started spraying over the fence at them with the hose. When we were teenagers, my sister and I got sent to the store for a missing ingredient. We got the food, but also took our dad's new Jaguar back on the sly, spun it, and sideswiped another vehicle. Cops called on my father and uncle for getting in a brawl on the front lawn. A cousin selected our holiday dinner as the perfect time to reveal and explore the intricacies of a fetish she recently began exploring. My 87-year-old grandmother recounting her recent experience with gonorrhea since moving into a retirement home in excruciating detail. Highly religious / conservative aunt threatened to beat the lesbian out of my sister with a broom. It goes on. Needless to say, I've yet to bring anyone home. It's gonna take a special person. Edit, spelling. Thanks for watching. Please leave a like, comment with your own awkward family meals. Subscribe to the channel for more Reddit Tales videos.